hand's better. Good evening. Thank you for coming tonight. I call to order the 816th meeting of the City of Laurel Historic District Commission. The qualifications of the members of the commission, the staff to the commission, and any consultants used are on file with the city and are hereby made a part of each and every application heard today. The guidelines and procedures adopted by the commission are also made a part of each and every application. Each application heard today is considered on its own merits and is not to be considered as establishing a precedent for any other application. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Chairman Hayes.
Here.
Mr. Clacoon.
Here.
Council President Les.
Please say that again. I'm
Council
not the council president.
No more. Council Member
Here.
Les.
Thank you.
Ms. Rambo.
Yes.
Ms. McSeany.
Here.
Ms. Lubinecki.
Here.
Ms. Frazier.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. We have before us the minutes of the meeting from October. Hopefully everyone has reviewed them. If there's any corrections or additions or subtractions that need to be made, please voice those now. Not, I appreciate the motion to approve.
Well, I did have one comment, and it relates to the minutes from September that were I requested a note be added requiring the Laurel Arts Council that they would need to receive approval for public art. I guess I wasn't clear. It seems my intention was that they, like a resident or business, fill out a form just like anyone else, not just get approval. They're here. I mean, and there's not a form. You know, they're on the agenda for this.
From our understanding, this project has already been approved by the mayor.
Oh,
So it kind of, and it's not really seen from the street.
okay.
So it's kind of, this is just kind of like a FYI.
Okay. Well, I guess I still think that if there's public art and it's going to be in the historic district, you know, I thought based on our discussion that we agreed that they would go through this process, not just let us know. And I don't know if that needs to be clarified or not, but that's my only comment.
I thought we had actually approved that this was happening. It was just the location that was up for discussion following.
I mean, that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this that, okay, so that's why they don't have a form saying where it's going to go.
I think.
Okay, thank you.
And I have one question with the minutes that actually relates to today's meeting. It notes on the Mr. Dahlheimer's request that we tabled it, but he's not on the agenda for today, but I know he's sitting in the audience.
We did not hear back from him until today. So
Okay.
All right.
Then I move we approve the minutes as presented.
I second.
All right. We have a motion by Ms. McSeany to approve, second by Ms. Frazier.
Yes.
Ms. Frazier,
Yes.
Mr. Clacoon,
Abstain?
Council President Les,
Yes.
Ms. Lubinecki,
Yes?
Chairman Hayes,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. Agenda item number 3 is HDC 003-2019 for 363 Main Street. Submitted by Duong, a request to install new store awning on building front in orange color with white lettering. Pho Viet 75. Applicant has decided not to bump out the front door and leave the building front as is. Good evening. Hi. And you are you Mr. Lee? Yeah, thank you. And so, thank you. And so we have a sort of mock-up here of what you're asking
for design
for the awning.
the awning. Yeah,
Right,
we,
right.
we play with awning with the different colors.
Right. So it's going to be. So you're requesting orange, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Is the color in this mock-up, is that a good representation of the actual color that it's going to be?
You mean
In other words, is this color on this page,
Mhm.
is that exactly how it's going to look
yes,
on the awning?
yes.
Okay. Just wanted to clear that up before we discussed anything.
First of all, I would like to comment, Mr. Chairman, that I'm glad to hear that you're not going to be modifying the entrance to the building. I know we had a long discussion the last time you were here and came up with a modification that would be okay, but we're actually much happier, I want to say, to see that you're keeping it the way it is. And in terms of the color, I have to say it's not a personal choice, but I recall Scott Whipple, who years ago was the Maryland Association of Historic District Commission staff person, and his comment was often that only worry about things that you can't change, and this is something that, while it's not my personal taste, I'm okay with it's a brighter color than I would choose, but if that's the color that you all like, that's fine. There's an orange building next door to it, so you can't really complain. So I'm hoping your restaurant is going to come through soon.
Yeah, thanks.
Only question I have with the awning, is that going to be new material, or are you going to take the existing blue awning and dye it?
It's it's exiting the form, but only
frame. The frame.
Yeah, the frame is existing, but the color when they fabric, the new one.
The material is going to be
Yeah,
new.
it's-
I move we approve HDC 039-2019 as presented.
Second?
Madam Secretary, we have a motion to approve from Ms. McSeany and a second by Ms. Lubinek.
Ms. McSteeny,
Yes.
Ms. Lubinecki,
Yes.
Mr. Clacoon,
Yes.
Councilmember Les,
Yes.
Ms. Frazier,
Yes.
Ms. Rambo,
Yes.
Chairman Hayes.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much for coming. We
Thank
look
you.
forward
Thank
to it
you.
opening.
Look forward to it. Do you have an opening date, an estimated date of our opening?
Right now, close. Yeah, we almost like a couple things like for inspection. Couple.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So
Great.
December, January, maybe sometime? Yeah. Okay,
Thank you.
great. Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is item number 4, HDC 030-2019 for 419 Prince George Street, submitted by Mary Hoffman. Request to remove tree from the side of the property. It looks diseased or dying and is too big for the space. There's no arborist report. The applicant is willing to plant another tree on the property. Good evening. Are you Mary?
I am.
Okay. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, this tree looks awfully close to your property as well.
Yes, I think that tree was given to us by a bird or a squirrel. Probably. And definitely not one that we would have put there.
Gotcha.
Your proverbial mulberry.
Mulberry, yeah.
That's mulberry.
Not the nicest tree to have around.
I have no clue, but that's what they're telling me. It's a mulberry tree.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it. I've heard of mulberry bushes, but in the past month, I've heard more about mulberry trees, and I really want to know.
Okay.
The problem with it is that it's too close to our house, the 419, but it's rubbing against the siding of our neighbor's house.
Oh,
And that could be a real problem there.
Sure.
Well, you don't have a lot of room on that side yard either.
No, that's why I think it was given to us by nature. Because we would not have planted anything there.
Right. No, I mean, I live next door, so I'm
And
familiar.
I think that they kept trying to cut it back, thinking it would just stay little, and it never did. And the more you cut, the more it grew.
They do that.
They're very hard to dig up. That's probably.
Yeah. We would like to find something that is more native to the area and either plant it in the front by where the bird bath is, up towards the front by the street, or in the back where you have more room, but definitely not on the side.
Gotcha. Sure. That'd be great.
Are you thinking of taking out that tree in the back by any chance, Sue?
The what?
The one in the back.
Well, we could. We were just trying to get rid of the one
Mulberry.
on the side at the moment.
Right.
You can't really see it from the street because there's a pine tree sitting right in the middle of it.
Mr. Chairman, do I need to recuse myself because I'm next door to this house?
Nope.
Well, in that case,
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve HDC 030-2019 for 419 Prince George Street to remove the mulberry tree from the side of the property.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. Madam Secretary, we have a motion to approve from Ms. Lubinecki and a second from Ms. Rambo.
Ms. Lubinecki?
Yes?
Ms. Rambo?
Yes.
Mr. Cocoon?
Yes.
Councilmember Les?
Mary, I assume you'll plant the tree in the spring. It's too late
Yes.
to plant it now. Is that correct?
Yes.
Sometime in
Yes.
the spring.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
Ms. Frazier?
Yes.
Ms. McSaney?
Yes.
Chairman Hayes?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Best of luck with that.
But get it out before the spring and before the mulberries grow again.
Yes. They stink up the place. Okay. Agenda item number 5 is next. HDC 032-2019 for 42 Avondale Street. Submitted by Mr. Golamreza. I'm going to butcher that name. Agdam requests to install 3.5 feet fence to front of property and 6 feet privacy fence to rear of property. This was previously approved for fencing on the side of the property. Do we have anyone here from 42 Avondale Street? So this is like, it sounds like this is like part 2 of what they were getting approved previously.
My only question would be, I'm assuming that they're going to remove the chain link where they privacy up.
Sheriff, I could. This will be alternating board also. 3.5 foot high will be alternating board also, as is the privacy.
Yes.
They don't make that real, well,
Oh.
I understand, that's a privacy fence.
Yeah.
They don't make it real clear, but I assume that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah, they don't list a different
Alternating
thing.
board.
So that's the understanding, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. So it's matching the previous approval
Yep.
fencing. Could we approve it? I think we can,
Yes.
or not, depending on how people feel, but I think we can bring it up for a vote.
Well, I move we approve HDC 032-2019 for more fencing around 42 Avondale Street.
And I would second that with the understanding that they're going to remove the existing chain link fence that's there, and they're going to have it matching the fence that's already been approved.
Madam Secretary, we have a motion to approve from Ms. McSeany, a second by Mr. Clacoon.
Ms. McSeany?
Yes.
Mr. Clacoon?
Yeah.
Councilmember Les?
Yes.
Ms. Frazier?
Yes.
Ms. Rambo?
Yes.
Ms. Lubinecki?
Yes.
Chairman Hayes?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, item number 6, HDC 031-2019 for 906 Montgomery Street. Submitted by Deidre Holiday Williams, a request to install an 18 by 27 hanging sign that is 6 feet high. The sign is white with green and brown lettering that reads Flavor Garden, etc., with their business logo. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are
We've
you?
seen a lot of work going on there.
Yeah.
So, what have you got for us this time?
Well, the sign, well, everyone, once they got the sign on the building, they said, well, of course, too small, and they couldn't see it, and they kept riding by. So I asked the owner, could he put on the pole that's like right in the driveway, at least something hanging so as you're riding by, you could see. And then I also had one in the grass. So it was that hanging sign, but they're identical signs. One was just a little bigger than the other one that was hanging. So, but I took the one out of the grass because that was just a disaster anyway, because as soon as it rained or the wind, it would fall anyway. So I just had the hanging one.
And that is that on both printed
It's
on
on,
both sides?
yeah,
Okay.
it's plastic.
Gotcha.
Wow, the building did used to look.
And is it 6 inches high? Is that?
I would assume from off to the ground because that pole is kind of on a slant. So because when you come down, the pole, so it probably is 6 from the grass.
Okay. 6 inches just seems small to me.
6 inches is where?
Well, because install an 18.
It says
I'm just
6 inches in height,
Yeah.
not 6
Yeah,
feet
six-
in height.
Yeah, so it's 6.
I think it was supposed to be 6 feet
No, it should-
high.
Hanging sign that is 6 inches high, but the
That's got to be 6.
It's got to be
install.
6 feet.
Oh, maybe it means the letters.
Maybe I don't
Are
know.
we talking about the letters there? Because install an 18 by 27 inch hanging sign that is 6 inches high. So I think it means probably the 6 inch letters on there.
If you see the staff report, it actually
Yeah, the
says
lettering
it's
has-
6
it's
feet.
the-
I think it
okay.
was just.
It is 6 feet.
It's
Okay.
6
all right.
feet. Okay.
Thank you. I presumed that, but I didn't want to make a presumption. Okay, thank you for that clarification.
I move we approve HDC 031-2018 for a hanging sign. 29.
Yep.
It says 2018.
Yeah, mine says 2018 too. So
So let me change it on the form.
so it should be 19.
It should be 031-2019 for 906 Montgomery Street.
Yep, there you go. Thank you for catching that, Ms. McSeany. We need a second.
I second.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, we have a motion to approve from Ms. McSeany, second by Ms. Frazier.
Ms. McSeany?
Yes.
Ms. Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Clacoon?
Yes.
Councilmember Les?
Yes.
Ms. Rambo?
Yes.
Ms. Lubinecki?
Yes.
Chairman Hayes?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good night.
Mr. Chairman, before we move off
Yes.
this, nothing with you. No,
Oh.
finish with you. That's fine. Good luck. I have one question on 906 Montgomery, and I may have missed the meeting where we did this, or wasn't. They're doing total extensive work on the side of the house. Have they been before us to
With the siding.
the siding?
That was-
906 has had all its siding completely taken off.
Yeah.
That was already approved.
Yeah, we approved
That was
Yeah.
the question.
Yeah.
That was all. That was my question. Good. Glad to hear it.
Okay, we have the list of staff approvals, which we have all seen and okayed.
I think we have Mr. Thalheimer here.
Well, I don't have any paperwork, but we can attempt to do it.
That would have been our previous.
Yeah. So you might have it there, huh? I didn't bring that last month's stuff. I try to travel light.
What's the address?
Karen, what's the address on that?
I got 4. It was in the minutes last time. 418.
418.
That was September.
418. It was number 4 from last time.
Or it may have been in October.
Yeah, it was the October 16 meeting.
Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, I do have something. Thank you. Okay. So, Mr. Thalmeyer, would you like to step up? So we tabled your request from last month, but we do have some time today where we can cover it, I believe. So I will read it. It's HDC 009-2019 for 418 Prince George Street, submitted by Paris Thalmeyer. Request to lay gray stone over existing 7-foot by 47-foot rock driveway. Driveway size will not be increased. Item was issued as a staff approval in September, and we put it on the agenda for official review. So you say it's a rock driveway, but it's pretty much a dirt driveway.
It is dirt. We put down some gravel to just make sure that my wife doesn't hurt herself and get stuck in the mud, basically.
I got you. It's been the wrong year to have a dirt driveway. That's all.
Could you describe a little bit more the material that you're planning to use?
So it's a stamped concrete, similar to a lot of the pavement you see around here in the crosswalks, where it looks like stone, only it's just concrete that's been stamped and shaped into a mold using a mold.
And what color? So that's the picture that we have. Second. Is that going to be gray?
It'll be like a dark slate kind of gray color.
Thank you. And it's a whole wide driveway, just like the Skaggs's next door?
No.
Or are you going to do 2 strips?
No,
like
it
you
will
have
be
gravel?
It will be a wide driveway, approximately the width of, and I believe the dimensions are there. The width of the driveway as it is now, where you see the gravel on the left and right edge of the driveway. We don't want it as wide as the other driveway as our neighbors. That would be too wide for us.
And you're not going all the way back?
No, we're just going to the fence. We'd consider going all the way back, but we decided not to do that. It'll be a nice character. It'll look nice, aesthetic pleasing, because personally, I don't like concrete. I don't like asphalt. I prefer to look as natural as possible.
Now, have you looked into the permeable version of this?
Are you referring to pavers themselves?
There is an option. I mean, this is fine.
Mm-hmm.
There is an option that is you can get a tax rebate actually on it. I mean, a credit, money back to do permeable.
Well, that would certainly be something that we would be interested in. We haven't investigated that. I believe you mentioned this to me before. We're not really well versed on concretes, and Personally, I'd prefer it to be as eco-friendly as possible if I can. So if I can learn more about that, that would be great.
Find me and I will send you the information.
Because personally, I don't like asphalt and I don't like concrete.
Now, are you having a company do this for you?
Yes,
Yeah.
we the information on the company is attached to.
Okay, so maybe you could check with them. Maybe they would have some information on that.
I'm certainly going to look into that.
Okay.
I did want to add something because my wife and I discussed this, and she brought this to my attention about a week or two ago. That the walkway leading up from the side, going from the walkway, not the walkway parallel, but there's walkway perpendicular. You really can't see it. It leads from the car to the front steps.
Okay, right.
Okay. My wife, I want to make sure we were transparent with you. She had said, "Hey, we'd like to also use that same style of stone concrete to the door, or to replace that, because right now it's not really very usable for her."
Okay. And what is it now?
It's just regular, concrete sidewalk.
So have like a sidewalk made with the same material.
Okay.
Exactly.
From the driveway wrapping around the house to the front entrance?
No, it wouldn't really necessarily wrap around. It would literally just be perpendicular.
You're talking about, so like when you get out of the car that you can walk on.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
In fact, it would be the same footprint that is there already.
Super.
Okay.
Chair, if I could, just to be clear, Karen makes a valid point with permeable. And just so we all understand, this falls below the square footage required in the state of Maryland. Some things we approve must be permeable. Because of the driveway, it falls below that threshold. So again, it's up to the applicant, and he can talk to the construction company about the permeable version of the concrete. But again, I just want to make sure everybody understands there's no requirement for applicants on these kinds of jobs to come up with a permeable solution.
No, this was more like there's a tax benefit.
And also the fact that I think it's a wise choice, and if it turns out to be viable and I can do it, I prefer to do that. That would be my choice, but I do appreciate the information.
Yep.
Have you considered making the sidewalk the same material then ultimately?
I have mentioned to my wife, the walkway going from the street to the house.
So that they're all three are the same.
I mentioned this to her, and she said she did not want to make that change.
Okay.
It was the first thing I asked. It's like, really?
So you would the sidewalk from the driveway would just go from the driveway to the existing sidewalk at the front of the house, and you would just terminate it right at that.
Exactly.
So I looked it up while we were discussing this. It's the Prince George's County Rain Check rebate. Funds are available on a first-come, first-served basis. Demand has been high, but you can get up to $4,000 back. So I would suggest you look into it.
They say they've exhausted it for this year yet. There's a limit, there's a threshold.
Right, they didn't say that they had reached the limit.
Reached the limit yet, okay.
So permeable pavement is $12 a square foot.
Okay, I'll be honest with you. It's been a while since we've done this, so I have no idea what we're paying at the moment. I have to go back and look at all this.
Right.
Okay, that's fine.
Right. No, I just wanted you to know that it was a significant amount.
So it's $12 a square foot rebate.
Yes. Yes.
You don't get the absolute. They've got a formula they use. Yeah.
Okay.
You have to get the mathematicians involved.
Worth looking into.
I definitely agree. I'm a firm believer in eco-friendly materials.
So what I'm thinking is perhaps we need to table this until, if you really want to pursue a permeable pavement, that we table this until you investigate that, if that's what you want.
Or I may say, I'd like to prefer that we, since we are, I think that there's agreement that he can do what he's proposed at this point. I think we're just offering the suggestion that he look into it as an opportunity, and that perhaps we we approve this.
Okay.
And if you decide that you want to do the permeable instead, to come back for a modification.
I would certainly do that.
That way you can proceed if it decides.
Karen, does he have to come back if he decides to do the permeable? I mean,
Yeah, I would say
if we approve what he's proposed,
Exactly.
and then he finds out he can make it work with the dollars
Right.
on a permeable, should he have to come back here or just do it?
Well, I think it depends on what it looks like. If
I
it looks different.
I would be fine coming back.
Good.
So,
And I agree, it is going to depend on what it looks like. This is the historic area. District.
So you're concerned it's going to look different.
Well, I'm just looking at two different pictures that are very different from
And it
what.
looks different. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is
Can I show
actually,
examples?
we are all
Yeah.
about looks.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I think maybe it is something that we should have you come back.
Not a problem.
right. If he decides.
If
he
we
wants-
decide.
Right,
Yeah.
but if he decides he doesn't want to go the permeable route, then he has the we can potentially give him the approval to do what you've already proposed.
Exactly.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Great.
Excellent.
I don't have the number in front of me, so. Sorry. So I'd like to make a motion that we approve HDC 0092019 for the pavers as proposed for the driveway and also the side. Would you
The
like
sidewalk,
and the
yeah.
side
Add
and
this
the
on.
parallel sidewalk as proposed, with the understanding that if you decide to change to a permeable or alternative design, that you come back to the commission.
I'll second that.
Okay, Madam Secretary, we have a motion to approve from Ms. Lubinecki and a second by Mr. Clacoon.
Ms. Lubinecki?
Yes?
Mr. Clacoon?
Yes.
Council President Les?
Yeah.
Ms. Frazier?
Yes.
Ms. McSteeny?
Yes.
Chairman Hayes?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is
Okay, awesome. We have some agenda item number 7. We have new business.
Okay.
We have a follow-up to previous discussion on the Laurel Arts Council installation of the public art bench at McCullough Field, consisting of a concrete block wall with granite slab.
Hello again.
Cheryl, how are you?
I am well.
So McCullough, so we have a place for it now.
Yes, our original site that we had intended was denied when we were here before you last. So now I met with Joanne, good Lord, and Bill Bailey, Joanne Barr and Bill Bailey, and we looked at the site at McCullough Field, which is in front of the two trees and in back of, I don't know, do we have a picture of that? I think I sent it to you, but anyway, it's between the basketball court and the two trees nearest the end of Montgomery Street and 7th.
Oh, okay.
So it's the same dimensions, everything is the same, just the site has changed. So now it's on city property and we don't have to get permission from the property owners.
Makes it
And
easy.
Parks and Rec has agreed that for the placement.
I think that's a good
Sounds
spot for
great.
it. Yeah.
Yay.
So do you have an ETA?
Spring, since now it's far too cold and muddy and
You got a poor foundation, correct?
yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
You don't have to.
Good job.
Well
Great.
done.
So
No, we do have pictures.
We have to do anything?
I don't, no.
I don't think we have to do anything here.
No, I don't think so.
Other than say, well done.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for the
Looking
report.
forward to it.
Okay, good. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Thanks, Cheryl.
have a
Good
good
night.
evening.
Additional new business. Please.
I think there is an opportunity here for us to perhaps have a small discussion on the issue facing us with the Laurel Diner, and perhaps to share a sense of, for the city and the community, of where the HDC sees the opportunities there and what we might like to see happen.
I agree. I don't know if everyone here on the commission either heard or saw about last night's meeting. We spoke eloquently, I believe, about the diner and its importance in trying to save it in terms of the diner itself, obviously not the property. I think that mostly we have no immediate concerns about the business that's going there. We're concerned about the diner and what's going to end up. We have a possibility here of doing something really remarkable with a rare gem, and it really is that. And when I say we, I mean that the city of Laurel to be involved as much as possible in this. But we as a community also will have to be involved in this, like other things that have come up. And I think that we need to understand that it is possible to save this diner. It was other tasty, and there was another tasty diner in Silver Spring that it was successfully moved about, I don't know, 14, 15 years ago. And certainly this happens elsewhere. According to some of the sites that I went to over the weekend, the internet sites, in terms of diner preservation and basically saving. And a lot have been moved, a lot have been saved in their location. So we know that ours has to be moved. So let's start some of the conversation there.
I missed the meeting last night. Are they proposing to demolish it, rebuild, or are they going to try to use the existing?
So the initial proposal is really they're proposing to entomb it, to build over it. And
I heard they were planning to keep it.
And that's the keeping part of it. Yeah.
It would destroy the inside of it as well.
Right. So they would have to.
The historic
they would, and they did offer the Laurel Historical Society, scraps in terms of pieces of the diner that might be considered historic or valuable. And I don't know if that involves the outside wrap on it as well, or if just
not something we can take in.
Yeah, booths on the inside or whatever.
But the main issue here, in case you have tried, it's something you've been following, is that this is actually not just interestingly historic just for Laurel, but this is actually one of two remaining Comac diners in the entire country. The company only operated for 4 years to start with, so there weren't tons. There's only two left that haven't been totally altered, and ours is one of the ones nationally that's in pristine condition. So it has not just local importance, but it's actually a national level structure, which is why there's so much interest in some of us in really trying to preserve this. And I think that even though it's outside the Historic District Commission, as people who are charged with preserving Laurel history in a way for our actions within the city, that we would be well to have a statement on that. I'd like to urge us to perhaps have a resolution relating to the diner.
And to go a little bit further than that, I'd like for us to look at something we can do to maybe beef up the ordinance that created the historic districts, and to see it, because we have other buildings like this that potentially, I think they're fine right now, but potentially they could also go by the wayside. One is actually in the historic district. It's the Phelps Center, the old Laurel High School. We've been concerned about that for a long time, and it's under private ownership. There's also the Goody Mansion property over by Laurel Lakes, and we know that the Community Redevelopment Authority has purchased that through.
But the city is listed as the owner.
Through the city, right? And you know that most of the money for that was donated so that the city could buy it, but with the stipulation that there had to be a wildlife preserve, nature preserve thing, park. That's sort of, I've never seen the actual, document that says what it has to be. What I've heard is required. But I think that we need to come up with something where there will be more buildings as time progresses that fall into this category, and that may not be in the historic district right now. I actually the St. Mark Hospital. Well,
the Quill building right next to the diner is a pretty historic structure. And the issue becomes buildings that look like they're a little down on their luck. That doesn't necessarily mean they shouldn't be preserved. I mean, I think we need to have the will to explore the options for preserving these structures. I mean, sometimes it takes more effort to preserve them because it takes materials that are a little bit more expensive and stuff. But there are funding options out there that I don't think that have been fully explored at all, let alone the public getting behind it. But there are grants. I mean, Maryland Milestones has grants. If Laurel's going to be part of the Main Street program, I assume there's some opportunities in that we need to explore. And I would really like to see this commission get on the record on this particular one. It's such a clear and present danger to the structure. I mean, it may not technically be in the historic district, but it's like across the street.
That's also something with so many possibilities that it doesn't have to remain a diner. There are so many other uses to which that building could be put, and so many places it could be put because it's portable.
That's right.
So it's an opportunity to be a little.
What I would consider the true meaning of the term redevelop.
Yes.
Not tearing down buildings.
Adaptive reuse.
Adaptive reuse is also the popular term. That little thing in Galesburg, Illinois, the downtown began a sharp decline during the 1970s after a mall was opened outside of town at nearly the same time the regional economy went into the doldrum. The community's efforts at downtown redevelopment helped stabilize at least part of the historic district, although there are still a significant number of empty storefronts. They were unable to prevent losing their downtown retail anchors to the mall, but some buildings in the historic district were successfully renovated and put back in use. The crowning achievement has been the recent $2 million restoration of the Orpheum Theater. So, I mean, again, we're even under bad times. There are ways to. Obviously, they found a benefactor or the money to do that. But I think that I'd like to see a little more involvement by the city in terms of making this commission aware of things that come up, because this thing with the diner, I feel like this is all last minute. It's being fast tracked because they have an expiration date on their license and they have to build. And I can't help but think that when did this start going through the city's processes? Was it June, July, or was it just last month?
One thing I don't understand is that
You all have been working on this. Do we have an answer to that question? Did the
I mean,
staff know about this?
This particular owner's been looking for a spot for probably a year and a half to
Right.
2
But
years.
They have full-blown plans ready for this. That takes some
Yeah.
time to get your architect to do that stuff. So how long has this been in the active hopper?
I think they put their application in either late October or early November.
Okay,
Let me just say it's recently,
so it is recent.
okay?
Okay.
As far as the application,
This-
yeah.
The property has been for sale for a long time. I will say that. Didn't have a for sale sign on it, just for sale. Like a lot of other properties. This person actually looked at other properties. The ordinance that passed, nobody came and gave testimony against it. Said that marijuana use dispensary had to be on Route 1. She's limited to where she can put her business. Okay, that's why you've got Sam and Elsie's. They use that building up there. So this person, I haven't seen the paperwork, and we're not going to see it. It's commercial, and those are all done in secret, to be quite honest. All those contracts purchased. She entered into agreement, this woman, it's a woman. She entered into agreement to buy it. I think that the council became aware of it when she made application for the planning commission. And she had her elevations already done. Somebody fast-tracked that, some engineering firm. And so everybody understand, I think everybody here does understand. The diner, the portable part of the diner is on the front.
Yeah.
The back is the kitchen and the bar.
Right.
Okay. This woman is buying the whole piece of property.
We understand.
She's gonna tear down the hotel. She's gonna get rid of it. They're gonna leave the white building for now up on Route 1 and rent that till they decide what to do with the rest of the property.
Oh, the old house?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
'cause that's a rentable property.
Sure,
as I
sure,
understand
sure.
it. And so when the council became aware of this, was recent, very recent. Okay? And actually, it was when the sign went up. For the planning commission. I think that's when everybody became aware. In fact, she is the contract person. She did look at other properties. She looked at Eisenstadt, the bagel place. She looked at other properties. And it has to be, there's some other requirements with distance requirements and so on. I don't have them all.
Yeah,
in front of
distance
me.
from churches and access to the road, yeah.
But
Yeah.
Route 1 is the key.
Sure.
As far as she's concerned, and that is a requirement. That's why Sam and Elsie's being used now. You have to be so far away from that one also.
Right, a mile,
As I
a mile and a
remember.
half.
She must be on the,
One
she must be
mile.
on the edge
1 mile.
there
There's
because
all-
She's
there's all the
she's right there.
requirements.
Yeah. She hits it on this
Of
one
the
though.
use,
She's fine.
okay. She has bought it for this use in mind because it fits all the.
Mhm.
And I guess the elevations are available back in planning now, correct?
I have the
You're gonna wrap the thing.
yeah, she's going to encapsulate it and destroy the inside.
He's gonna wrap the existing building. And I've said this, and I truly mean it. Having built some buildings myself, the best thing she could start with was a flat piece of property.
Absolutely.
Okay, from her perspective, it will be cheaper. Okay, because she's got a liquor license she can sell. Okay, now, so that then comes to the diner. Was it 4 years they were in business? That company? They weren't in
The
business.
Comac, yeah, 4.
They weren't in very
Yeah, it was
business
4,
for very
wasn't it?
long. When I did some research recently, they weren't in business very long. There were several different manufacturers out there. When we say it's portable, yeah, I'm not an expert. The last building I saw moved in the city of Laurel was Mrs. Scagliarini's house from Main Street when they built the post office. And even 40 years ago, very expensive. Get it? And then the question is, where are you going to put it? 41B Street's been sold. I'll announce that. It's already settled. The money's in the bank. That's the old lie. That's the business of the CRA, is to buy and sell property. That's why the city doesn't. You say the city's on the deed for the Goody Mansion. That may be true. Okay, because of the way the will was set up. That was an endowed amount of money from a will that the councilwoman negotiated with the person that's leaving no heirs. And you're absolutely right. Back of the property has to be some kind of a nature something. On the other hand, the CRA now is looking for plasters to fix the inside of the house, maintain it so it doesn't fall down. Because since the Goodies moved out, nothing's really been done inside that house. Okay, so they're trying to actively preserve the house. So the question is, what do you do with this diner? I don't know. I don't have an answer. I don't know where it goes. I don't know where the money will come from to move it. And then you've got to have a piece of property to put it on. So there's and as I said last night at the Mayor's Council meeting, December 11th is the Planning Commission. Paid her money. It was advertised. It's, December 11th is Planning Commission, and December 21st is Board of Appeal.
20th.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
20th.
Well, I appreciate it. We were bad with dates.
But that's pretty, and my question to you, Mike, isn't that pretty fast? Like 1 week later, the Board of Appeals?
No, he's following the process. It has to be advertised. The city, the way that works is they pay the city gets it in the paper of record. And again, what drives this typically, anything like this, is in fact her attorney. Because time is money. Heard me say that before, and having built some property, money. That's why the building is going up next door to this, where Sportsman's used to be. Mm-hmm. They don't even have a tenant. But they settled the property, they got the money for the building loan, and they're building the building without a tenant. Time is money. They're going to use it for storage, right? Is that correct? Right. Storage, I think, but they do not have an active retail tenant for that building. But time is money, and the interest rates were going up. And I think that's what's driving this woman.
I think she has a license that expires. Is more what's driving her.
Well, there's several things involved here, though. Yeah. A lot of moving.
What is the rationale for the special exception?
Why do they have to go?
What is the rationale for the special exception?
Like, why is she requesting she needs it, or
why would it be granted?
It's a requirement.
It's a requirement for anything with a medical cannabis dispensary requires a special exception.
That was part of the ordinance we passed. Okay, but a special exception, the attorneys keep telling me, all the way back to Bob Manzi. The criteria she has to meet for the special exception, those are not big hurdles to overcome anymore. Not like they used to. So if you go look at the special app, has she got her application in yet? Yeah, you go back to planning and read the application. You have to meet certain criteria, and her attorneys will have prepared that document so she overcomes all of them.
So you're basically saying the city is impotent in
I
preserving
didn't
a structure.
Look, how many properties did we identify should be conserved in the study that we've done? Was there 9 or 11? Okay.
Was this one of them?
Huh? No.
But it's also on the list of the historic inventory of the Maryland Trust. I know it's just an inventory.
That is correct. You're absolutely correct, Doug.
Yeah.
No, it's not on, this was done by somebody we contracted to do it. And he did not put the diner on the property, on the list.
Right.
That just means he didn't do his homework properly.
Whatever.
So you must have been talking to Jim McTeeny. Jim and I had discussions that we actually discussed with city staff. Did he do his homework? I mean, there's some other buildings I think are significant that are not in this document. I mean, one of them's right on Route 1. It's where the printing outfit is.
Yeah, the quill building.
The
That's
free
the one
quill building.
that's right next to the Tasty Diner.
No. That was a pharmacy at one time. I'm talking about
Oh,
over
the
behind.
Maryland Drugs.
Huh?
The Maryland Drug Company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the one over behind next to Carol Fuel Oil. That's the last Victorian mansion left on Route 1.
The RPG.
Hope Hatters.
Yeah. Who owned that originally?
Hope Hatter.
Yeah. But again, so again, there's okay. And then as I explained last night, somebody said, "Well, can we get it designated?" Yeah. There's a process. Council will take it up. Has to go through hearing. Now you've got something that same kind of hearing she's going to have with special exception. Get it in the historic district. That's why the historic district is done in several pieces. We've lost ones a lot because so many people objected. They didn't want their house in the. They thought we were going to be like historic Annapolis. Tell you what kind of bricks you could use, what kind of colors you could have. Every window would have to be wooden. Hey, I agree with that. I happen to agree with it. But again, so there's a process, and I think that Karen makes a valid point. I don't, and Doug, as I said last night, I'm surprised only 3 people spoke. There's what, 1,800 on the.
Close to 17 something.
A lot of them from out of town.
Yeah. But speaking of revenue, Richard Friend noted that we could ask for whatever sum of money you can think of, $25, $50, $100 from all the people who signed it. If we ask for 100, well, even you're going to get a lot of money.
I agree with that. Let me just say this.
So,
and let me just say this. My friend Eddie says I'm a philanthropist. I give a lot of money away. I'm paying for a railroad locomotive renovated somewhere because the last one like that left. And what they did was, that's exactly what they did. They went and it was a GoFundMe. It was a regular something nonprofit that set up. I mean, you might get the reaction. If everybody on that list, 1,800, gave you $100, it gives you,
$180,000.
Gives you a start to getting the thing moved.
So you're saying it's more than $180,000?
I'm going to give you my best guess. It's going to be more than $180,000. But that's just my best guess.
Right. But the issue here is also we have a short time. What we need to do is slow this down and or persuade the owners that encapsulating is not the route to go. But we need support from the city to do that. I mean, public publicity and public relations helps. I mean, if the city comes out and says, this isn't something we want to see happen, we want you to do something different, you may not have the absolute authority to do it. But when the community comes out against something, that puts some pressure on it.
Save Our Stop is a good example.
I was threatened today with votes on this issue. I'm going to be honest. I don't like that. You don't know where I stand on this issue. I think it ought to be preserved. It ought to be moved. I don't agree with the use it's going to be put to, but that's a separate issue. But don't threaten me with votes. Don't threaten the mayor with votes if we don't do something. Applicant came in, bought a piece of property, and they've applied for something. Now, the citizens need to get up and speak at the Planning Commission meeting and the Board of Appeals. And perhaps there may be some leeway. I don't know.
Well, we're also hoping that maybe Pure Hannah will be interested in forming a friendly alliance with the community.
Yeah, I agree.
And I, if I'm hoping that they will see an advantage for themselves and a win-win for everybody if they step forward and say, we will, help donate to help move, give you half the funds, or here's a sum of money, and or you raise your money and we'll double it, whatever, we'll match it,
Okay,
whatever.
so last night, Carl asked what's the process?
Right. That's
to get it designated, some kind of designation. I pointed out to Billy, set up a meeting with Carl and with Doug, actually,
Mm-hmm.
that he's chair of the Historic District. I don't think they want 50 people. What they want to do is understand the process. And then, my suggestion, maybe a group of might want to meet with outside of the planning, outside of the.
And you probably know that's happening already a little bit
Yeah.
with Jana. She's been speaking.
Absolutely. Because she's not I met the woman, not unreasonable. She does have a group of attorneys working.
Sure.
She's got somebody that used to be in the House of Representatives lobbyist. What's his name? Justin Ross. Yeah, Justin Ross is her lobbyist. But again, I think that there's some room here. Let me just say that. I'm going to say what I said before. The best building lot she has nothing. Not going to save a whole bunch of money by encapsulating. She's got to build walls. She's got to put a roof. She's got to put bathrooms in. All kinds of things.
Yeah.
Again, I'm sure John is following through on that.
She is.
I didn't talk.
Yeah.
What is the water issue?
Our understanding is there's some stormwater issues related to this, that it's grandfathered in or that it relates to the property, but I don't know. I don't.
Well, the
Like if you basically don't move the diner and you use what's there.
There are some issues because she gets exempted from some of the stormwater issues.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Because ideally, but again, I'm going to come back to what I said, the ideal building lot, flat lot, with cisterns in, she captures the rainwater. That's the new methodology for small lots. You don't put a stormwater lake in her pond in, put a cistern. That's what's underneath Avondale. Underneath the apartment, there's cisterns underneath there. Then they release the water slowly out. Yeah, you're right. There's a whole bunch of building restrictions that we don't control. We don't control the stormwater. That's controlled by the county. Okay, so she's probably had her people down there trying to figure out how can I avoid doing this, how can I avoid doing that. They all do it. Heard it from different developers. But again, I'm thinking about this in my mind and what it costs to build something. Ideal situation, I'll come back to what I said, is a flat building lot, a pad. I think that's, and then she could drop. I mean, there's cisterns underneath the new post office building. That's how they kept. They did that back when they built that. Those were those big corrugated things.
But her plans that she has presented, and I've seen them, they're totally encapsulating and using the current footprint of the structure and destroying the interior completely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's depressing beyond belief what they're planning to do to this structure.
Yep.
So, which leads us back to the original question. I mean, we I think can all discuss this a lot tonight, but I would still like to propose that we at least go on the record on this as an organization and then forward.
Go on the record for supporting the.
Well, I'd like to propose a resolution
Please.
calling for the preservation of the Tasty Diner structure and urging the city to work with the community to explore options for the diner's use and its preservation, including preservation-related funding.
I'll second.
Madam Secretary, we have a motion submitted by Ms. Lubinecki, seconded by Ms. McSeany.
Yes.
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 Abstain.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very
As soon as
much.
you mentioned funding, I've got to abstain. You said city funding, correct?
No, I said, and preservation-related funding.
Well, that's why I abstained.
Well, that would be like Maryland Milestones,
Yeah, I
Preservation
understand
Maryland.
all that.
Yeah. So, here's a question. One of the suggestions has been to move it to the lot where the movie theater is.
No parking. I think what you're going to see, whatever use you put it to, well, let me just say, that's a possibility. That has not been sold yet.
Well, so my question really was, how much, anybody know how much that's going for?
Well, that's up to the CRA because it owns it.
Yep.
So the CRA theoretically could say, we'll donate the lot if you can move the building.
Is that
I mean, theoretically, could they not? I mean,
Or
whom
would
are they
one of-
accountable?
Would one of the existing shopping groups like Frit be interested in having a snazzy diner? Frit, Laurel Open Center. They could then rent it and operate it.
Doesn't even have to be a diner. It could be a great visitor center for. There are
An ice
options.
cream shop. Something.
Exactly. Adaptive reuse.
Adaptive reuse.
Yeah. Exactly.
What I said before. Has to come into conformity, move it, all existing buildings.
Sure.
It needs handicap
And,
entry. It needs, yes, we understand.
I think that's just presumed, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but that's an issue.
Yeah.
Because that's going to add to the cost.
Sure.
But before we say we can't do it, why don't we
No,
find
I
out?
didn't say we can't do it. I'm just saying that we need to understand all the hurdles.
And
all the speed
but
bumps.
the important part, I think, right now, just to sort of get this, pretty clear, is that right now we need to be able to find in a very short time, probably 5 weeks if we're lucky, to find a way that this diner can be actually designated as, and I don't mean historic designated, I just mean designated somehow that they will save this diner, and we will be able to have the funding in place, or at least a stream started, and maybe even a place to put it. I'm concerned about having like a temporary location for it, and then it just sits and nothing happens for years because we can't find a place. So I would be really adamant about getting all our ducks in a row, before we even try to get something.
I think there's going to be a meeting with Carl.
Mm-hmm.
With Bill. John is aging. I've only met her once.
Right, and we might have a meeting on Sunday.
Yeah, I didn't have any frequency. The only reason I met with her was Justin asked me. I could understand what we were going to do once the sign went up. I don't think we'd just tear everything down. But now we're going to encapsulate. And there's a lot of considerations from stormwater and other. If in fact recycle what's perhaps right. Stormwater, I don't even know what, has she submitted a stormwater plan yet? Probably not. It is probably down in the county as we speak. Yeah. What we tried to get stormwater in the city years ago, mayor, county would. That's why Did they de-water Laurel Lakes today? They were supposed to, and they're not going to dredge any dirt out of it.
They've always.
So if anybody thinks those 4 bays are going to do anything, they're going to do nothing, because it's half full already with silt. But again, that's beside. I think that everything's being done. And again, I think the key is John going to be the one that trying to meet with?
I think there'll be a contingent.
Yeah, okay. She's. I just had a few minutes with her, and Justin's a lobbyist. But I'm sure she will have her attorney. They want to.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah. Issue of diners. This is not the first diner. Haggerty's had one, antique diner. It's small, single width, 40 feet long. Couldn't get anybody to move. That one was already on wheels. They could not find a place to put it. And again, that's the other. Right. The other side of this is, well, where would we put it?
Well,
but there are some properties, but then you have to have a use.
I think that's all a discussion for another night, is what I think.
Yeah. Why? You don't want to go home, do you, Karen?
Yes, I actually do.
But again, I think a good start was made last night. Again, I told Karen, she spoke very eloquently. Say that.
I read it from a piece of paper, so she was much better.
I think Jonna did a good job too. I mean,
yeah, she did.
Jonna and you, women prevail.
Are we?
And that's good. But again, I think that there's an opportunity here if the right discussions take.
Right, and we're trying to facilitate.
Yeah, good.
So are we adjourned here?
Now let me come back to one issue. There's still additional property. In addition to,
I just pulled them out, and what I think, and I'm glad you addressed that. So we're gonna have a work session, but it's probably gonna be in January at the earliest.
Definitely not in January.
Yeah, and maybe not until February. But I'm gonna pull this list. It's available. It's there, and we're gonna look at these, and I think that's why I want some sort of modification to the ordinance. The historic district or ordinance that will allow us to reach these buildings, these sites.
Non-contiguous properties.
Huh?
Non-contiguous
Thank
properties.
you, non-contiguous property. Right. So, that's going to be a lot of work, but we need to start it.
Yeah, and again, if changing this ordinance will require hearings on the ordinance itself.
Right,
So
no, I understand.
Before we move to the second step, we can include that in there. Then you have hearings on the non-contiguous.
Right. And some of them are gone. The colored school is gone. That's listed in there.
That must be an old list.
It is. Well,
there's a new list.
Are you talking about the College Primary School, College School number 2? The primary.
The new list about 7 or 8 years old. The last time we had about 7 or 8 years old, I believe, before you took over.
Before Sonny took over.
No.
No. It was while Sonny was here.
So on the list is the Farrell property, Little Tavern Hamburgers, Frederick Motors,
the original building,
Citizens National Bank. That's in the historic. The Phelps and Schaefer building at 900 Montgomery Street, again in this. St. Mark's Methodist Episcopal Church, the Goody House, Free Quill building, Richard S. Hill property on Sandy Spring Road, Laurel Wreath Lodge, Laurel Colored School, Laurel Cotton Mill Dam ruins, the Phelps House. That's the Laurel Manor. Laurel Manor is what we're talking about.
The dam ruins have been stabilized.
And the Morris and Julia Quill property at Old Sandy Spring. So those we have a list.
Yeah.
So I think we need to be concerned about all of them.
Yes,
we need
absolutely.
something that will
something else can happen.
That will take care of all of them.
Yep.
So that when this, so we won't be scrambling when this, our the people that come after us.
And we have no defense.
Exactly. They won't be, so we need something on the book. And I think obviously now is.
We need to move forward in a logical manner.
Right.
On that note, I move.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your patience, everyone.
Thank you.